went to Fordham, and I did 3 years at Fordham Law School, and then I became a prosecutor.
Wow.
I was a DA.
Defense attorney.
I'm a defense attorney. I was the guy putting you in jail.
Yes. So that speaks to one of my questions, right? We're going to get back to the law thing because I know a lot of young people want to be lawyers. But how did you feel being a prosecutor? Because, you know, a lot of times in the black community, you're deemed like a snitch, so you're working with the ops.
You got to think, for me, I wasn't the kid who was sitting in the house. I was a kid who was outside.
So you could have been prosecuted.
So listen, yes. So I had credibility amongst my peers and could. My people who I grew up with in Brownsville and Crown Heights and the East and Harlem, they were proud of me. They was like, word. People who didn't know me, they didn't know who I was. You know what I'm saying? So, and I was an anomaly. Because, you know, there was no prosecutors. Most of the prosecutors weren't like me. They didn't understand Brooklyn like I did. They didn't, you know, listen, those white kids get in all types of trouble. Drugs, DWIs, sexual assaults, and all that stuff. But they're protected in their community. I was a kid who entered the DA's office with a federal misdemeanor. My trajectory was different. And I only did that because my mentor and great professor, James Cohen, said, yo, you're really intelligent and you have a skill, so you should go in an environment where you can develop your trial skills. Because the goal was always to do what I'm doing now. The goal was always to be a criminal defense attorney, a civil attorney, the person who runs his own practice, a law school professor. That was always the goal. But to sharpen my skills to get there, I had to sacrifice and go down that road.
So you can see both sides.
Yes.
So what are some of the things you feel like you learned as a prosecutor that helps you be a good defense attorney?
I learned how the system worked behind closed doors. We think, for instance, your viewers who watch this or listen to this, some of them may think you just come in here and turn this on and voila. They don't see, yo, is the camera working? Is the SIM card good? Yo, you got everything you need for editing? Yo, can you do this? They don't see that.
Yeah.
And I think being in the district attorney's office provided me insight behind the curtain of what really goes on, how decisions are being made, what motivates certain decisions, how police officers and district attorneys and judges, the judiciary, work in this symbiotic relationship, and how the positions that people in power take with people of different class and race. How these prosecutors who come in there very aggressive and some of them very nasty are just as flawed as everyone else. How police officers make mistakes and put people's lives in danger. Some of them lie. Some of them don't lie. Some of them are great at their job, but they protect the bad guys. So I got a full breadth of all of that. And at the end of the day, I could try a case at a young age. I could try a case in a way that made my peers feel uncomfortable. Because when you see black intelligence, you wanna kind of rein it in. No one reins white intelligence in.
Yeah, just
black
take it for what it is.
Slow down, they don't. And I didn't, I think being from the street, I had an edge about me where it was like they just had to leave me alone.
Yeah, because you wasn't having it.
No, they had to leave me alone, and they did what whiteness always does. They get a fishing rod and they put a carrot on it. So what was happening in the DA's office was I was getting a reputation as a young trial attorney who could try a case. So judges were hearing about me. I'm talking about I'm from 24 to 29, 24, 25 to like 28, 29.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, when I felt I got enough experience under my belt, all I wanted was trials. Once I got my trial experience, I gave them 2 months notice and I was gone.
Wow.
But to give you an insight on how I entered the job as a prosecutor, 2 weeks before I started, I got a call from David Fader, who was Charles Hines' head of human resources, and Dino Amoruso, who was his of counsel, and they fired me before I even started because they said, yo, if you may not get admitted from getting in trouble. So if you you're fired, but if you ever get admitted, yeah, reapply. I was devastated. I was just sitting in my crib in Gates in Washington, just devastated. My past was affecting my future. And my law school professor, James Cohen, he called me because I had helped him write a brief to the Second Circuit. And he wanted to check some citations. And he was like, yo, what the hell are you at home? Why are you not at work? He's like this matter-of-fact Jewish dude who's just a sweetheart, brilliant person. And I had to tell him that, yo, they fired me. And I told him why. And he was so angry. He was like, what do you mean? He's like, yo, they knew that you put that on the application. And they had people in that office who had DWEs or done way worse than you that they hired. And he said, you know what? He said, I'm going to call you back. Yo, he called me back. That was like a Monday. He called me back Thursday and he said, Kenny, they're gonna give you your job back and you don't owe them shit. Go in there with your head high and do your thing. And that's how I stepped into the DA's office. So I had no fear.
What do you think as a prosecutor, right? Did you ever feel guilty at any point representing like?
No, I never felt guilty.
I mean, prosecuting people.
Bad. No, you can't. How can you not? It's like being on the slave ship. Listen, first of all, when I got the job, I was mistaken for a defendant by judges, by court officers, some who look like us, by some of my colleagues.
Let me ask you this. What are some of the things that you learned about the system that is corrupt that you feel like we need to know?
I mean, listen.